Welcome to Bears in Exile. Today is Wednesday, January the 2nd, the beginning of a new year. So I hope everyone has a great new year. And this is just a very fast, shortened market overview, simply because the moves have been so great over the last few days. I didn't want to do very much last week because targets were not going to work out with the giant swings. Hopefully we're getting back to something normal, but this is just a very quick look to see what we're looking at, especially after today, because we should be getting back to some kind of normal, and just have to set a tone for what we're looking at going forward. Okay, so I'm just going to look at a few symbols tonight. I'll start off with the Dow, and here we are. We can see the giant 300 plus move today after a multi 160 or whatever it was the day before that, market day that is. We had the fiscal cliff resolved, and it resulted with this, which could have gone either way, but if they hadn't passed something, but they did. And so what do we have? Well, we have a giant green bar, duh. And what does it tell us? Well, it tells us that we have made a new recent high, which is bullish. Absolutely. Is this overdone? Is this too stretched, etc., etc.? Well, are we in a spot where it should turn down? Not especially. We're at the halfway point of this big red candle, which could be minor, possibly. We did back away. Did we back away at all? No, we didn't. So we're at the midpoint of this big red candle, which should be absolutely minor. Beyond that, we're at the upper Bollinger Band. That should also be something, as long as it's not pushed back. And how are we going to know if it's going to be pushed back? Well, we have a blip in the heat map. So it's just a one-day blip, getting all the way from starting oversold condition all the way to a green blip. So a minor warning sign, simply because we don't have enough time yet here to really establish this is a definite topping area. So I'm not going to read too much into that. Beyond that, we had the 14-day RSI moving average trying to move down from a top, but we have all of the secondaries moving up for a secondary reset. So beyond that, the 14-day as of today going sideways high, which is not a bad sign for bulls, and we're in the midst of a secondary reset. So unless there's a big move down tomorrow, we can see all of these go to the top and perhaps make a negative divergence in the MACD histogram. We're going to have to see what happens with that. I would imagine that it would, but it remains to be seen. It is too early. So all in all, indicator-wise, pattern-wise, it all does look bullish for the moment. And but we do need some more development. And this becomes more interesting with some of the other things. We're going to take a quick look at metals, SLV in particular. Now here's something that is very interesting. I did a chart on SLV a night or two ago. I was looking for movement down, and obviously that hasn't happened yet, but it is extremely interesting, because at the time we had this uptick. And I was of the opinion at the time that this uptick would not resolve simply because it was too high. We were going too far to the right. We had good alignment for a move down, etc., etc. But today, that uptick was resolved. How about that? That is just pretty crazy. And I think it did it in time, too. Let me see here. Uptick was here, so it had 4 days, 1, 2, 3. It accomplished it on the third day. So the rule now being, we have an uptick completed, we have to see what it wants to do next, but beyond that, what do we see with this? Well, we cleared the 200-day moving average, and we did it the wrong way. We didn't fight with it. All we did was gap. And on the gap, it was weak. Not a good sign. Beyond that, 14-day RSI moving average still moving down. We had talked in the chart about the secondaries moving up, and we didn't know how high they would get before they could turn. So this move up actually isn't so bad, because there was a possibility that we would get some kind of a move up. The question being, how high could it get, and when would it turn? So I was right and I was wrong. Wrong on the timing, but should have listened to that uptick. Anyways, for the bearish perspective, we have worked off the bottoming area in the heat map. That is done. So the 14-day RSI moving average moving down. We have the fast stochastic already going sideways even with today's move up. Not a good sign. Everything else is moving up, so that's not so bad for the bulls. We do not have a MACD cross yet. We had talked about the position of some of these indicators relative to previous moves down. And so with these moving up, if this is going to turn down, all that it does is relieve some of the stress and give them more room for a move down. So the positioning, not great. The candle, not great. We have to see what it wants to do next because of the uptick. That's okay. And we're looking for that turn on the indicators. Is it going to be tomorrow? I don't know. I really don't know. Be nice if I did. Okay. Other things. Very, very quickly. Dow Jones Transports. And this sometimes leads the Dow. And what do we have today? Well, we have a new recent high. A very clear new recent high. Yes, it has a topping area. Yes, we have a secondary reset underway. The point being, there is some room for this to go up further if it wants to. But we do have a nice blip in the heat map. At this moment, what I would be really looking for, this may be wrong, in this case of the Dow Jones Transports, it's above the upper Bollinger Band. We have the recent high here. That should be support now. So optimally, I'd want to see this turn around, come down, hit this, and bounce off of it. We do have room for it. It would help relieve possibly a little bit in the secondaries. It might be too fast that it doesn't. But regardless, that would be a really good indication. But new recent high. That is very positive. Going on to CompQ, the NASDAQ. And this one is more interesting to me because, you know, all these are going to be very similar. Secondary resets underway, and most of them new recent highs. Now, this isn't an all-time high on the NASDAQ, but it is way outside of the upper Bollinger Band. There should be a move sideways or down to get back inside of it. But the interaction between here and its previous high should be telling. It should be. So we'll have to see how that develops. In the case of the NASDAQ, it stopped right at this previous high. So to be massively bullish at this point, it should go sideways, come down, get back inside the upper Bollinger Band, hopefully test the previous high and bounce off if we want to be bullish, and then break the high from today. And if that's the case, then it should be going up here to 3161 and perhaps 3196. Should be a really nice move from here, but we did create a gap down here. At some point that'll be filled. Does that mean it'll be filled immediately? I don't know. There's not enough information here at this moment. Going on to the VIX, this was absolutely insane. It got way outside of the upper Bollinger Band, it slammed way back inside of it, and then gapped down massively today, getting close to previous lows. Still has a little ways to go, but simply incredible. Definitely bottoming blip in the heat map, but not quite enough information to really act on it. There is room to move on everything to the downside. I wouldn't touch this, but it sure seems like it's gone pretty darn crazy. But could it get to the lower Bollinger Band? Yes, it could at 14, which would be a previous low, which should be really good support. And if it doesn't bounce at that point, if it hasn't already, as of tomorrow or something, that would be really troubling, especially for the bearish perspective. Going on to banks, you can't have a rally without the banks. There's JP Morgan, most important bank. And yeah, we have a hanging man, but it is at the top of a new recent high, I should say. It is building a topping area in the heat map, but secondary reset is still underway. It can still move more to the upside. Where it craps out, nobody really knows. But it would be nice to have some negative divergence on the MACD histogram, but some further movement up and then have really nice negative divergence. That would be, picture perfect, but I guess we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. I mean, today was just really extreme. A lot of contrarians would probably say, okay, well, now's the time to short. But sometimes things just go nuts, like back here, and it pushes the upper Bollinger Band back. And I just want to make sure that that isn't what's going to occur at this point if, before some shorts are really on the table. GE, trying to get a better read on the Dow. And it is, it did a good showing today. I mean, it was weak, but it's not really a new recent high. I mean, it's a new recent high for the last week, but it hasn't got back up here yet. Overall, this doesn't look so hot to me, but we are in the middle of a secondary reset still. If it can break this area here, the previous high, I'd be a lot more bullish, but it simply isn't there yet. Maybe it will get there. At least it's not pushing on an upper Bollinger Band. Very difficult. And we can't have anything without UUP, the dollar, and see what it's doing. And this one is kind of curious to me. I'm sure there's lots of people out there that are saying, oh, well, this is a head and shoulders pattern, shoulder here, head here, another shoulder here. I suppose another interpretation could be going to form another shoulder now. This one isn't bad because the right shoulder is higher than the left shoulder, but it also should be on larger volume. And I don't know that these two, they look pretty equal to me, so that's kind of difficult to tell if this is on higher volume or not. Regardless, what do we have today? Well, we're just barely getting to the long-term moving average bar, and it is backing away from it slightly. We do not know if it's going to get into a fight yet. We're mixed on the stochastics. Everything else is going up, including the 14-day RSI moving average. The dollar going up should be bad for the overall market, but we don't know what the interaction will be with the long-term moving average bar at this time. It would look like it will be weak, but we need more development. Now, if this fails at this point, that should be very good for the market overall. And could you get a head and shoulders breakdown? Yes, it's possible. Certainly going in to fight with the long-term moving average bar for, a few days, a week, whatever, probably is not the best for the metals, but the metals were decent today. Although I think it's very suspect. What else? TNA. Small caps. Small caps should lead the way up. And in this case, they certainly did. We have a new recent high on TNA. Now it is very stretched. We have a topping area in the heat map. We have a really dark blip today. We're way outside of the upper Bollinger Band. This should go sideways or down to get back inside of it. But we have everything moving back up, and we have the 14-day RSI moving average locked high. We can see higher highs with this, and if we do, then it's the retest here from today at 69. That would be the important number. But, I mean, that could go all the way down here if we don't count the upper shadow, the tail, whatever you want to call it. Go down here maybe as far as 67.70, roundabout. So it does have some room to pull back slightly, and the question will be what happens at that time. I find it really hard to believe that this is just going to shoot up to, 80 or 90 or whatever all in one go, but there should be a little bit of a pullback. And then, depending on what happens then, is what should determine what happens next. So, overall, kind of a game changer until the next bit of news comes out and the next crisis. Everybody's talking about the debt ceiling that's still, 2 months away. So they'll probably take it right into the final hour. There's plenty of time for the markets to perhaps test the major high. With the VIX being so low, it's possible. If it can maintain this low, it is very, very possible. So I like to be skeptical, but I also don't want to just discount this because I don't believe in it. So need a little more information, but hope everybody is very careful. Hope everybody has, good stops and a reason for doing what they're going to do, and not just do it as a person jumping in with both feet simply because everybody else is. So there it is. Overall, markets definitely positive, and metals need to have some more development. But I am skeptical of the metals at this point. As always, all investing decisions are your own. This chart and video for entertainment, educational, and consumption of time purposes only. Thank you very much.